Your work is just so inspiring, Sam. And I really, I think your journals and your everyday approach and your discipline is something a lot of us kind of aspire to. And anyways, I really, really appreciate what you do. And today I'm so excited to paint with you. And I mentioned in my stories that those of you who want to paint along, Sam and I will be exploring. Well, Sam, why don't you show everyone what you've brought today to share?
Yeah, well, I'm here in my studio. I braved the outside world and had a scarf on and walked over. But when I'm at home, it's just sort of what I have around. And so what was soothing the past week or so was not actually my journal, but to just sort of do these like little concentrated paintings of bowls of fruit that, I don't know, it felt good to just sort of really look at them and study them and look at the color and the size and the shapes and, just take that time. Whereas, with my journal, I draw things very loose and quick. And so it was a nice contrast. And so anyway, what I brought today was just sort of more of those things. I just threw them in my bag. A tea towel. And these are things that I just, had in the kitchen. And it's kind of nice to practice because fruit is, the way the light hits it. And it's kind of like a freeing, easy. It's not easy. I mean, nothing's easy, but it's less intimidating than other things, I think.
Well, it's accessible too. Things we can find around our house.
Yeah. And it's just, I don't know. I actually wanted to have a banana today, but we don't have any. So and I'm not
you can look at mine. Mine's getting a little brown. I found one last apple in the fridge too. I'll be eating it after our demo.
I know. I really was like, well, we're running low on fruit. I got some blueberries delivered, and then I was feeling very nervous about eating those. I like things right now with skin on them. Anyway. So yeah, and then I have my pocket palette that at the top has our collection that we did together, and then at the bottom is just a whole bunch of other colors.
And I've had some people ask. Sam and I had so much fun putting together the Draw Your Day palette, which was in support of her wonderful book. That if you haven't checked it out, I think I super recommend it. And just around the idea of finding kind of the everyday things with tips and ideas for sketching, all filled with Sam's really beautiful illustrations. And hopefully we'll be able to come out with some more palettes. And then you may have a few on hand.
I do have some, and somebody here who might be here now, Lisa, so I have one puffy envelope right now. I can't go to the post office or the store. So right now I'm really just going to send out the one. But hopefully I can, if people are interested, you can send me a direct message. This is the little card that we made, and we put this out together right after Draw Your Day came out. And so it was a year ago, a little more than a year ago.
Yeah, right?
And you kept it in the shop for a long time. It did well, and then it was time to move on. But we're hopefully going to relaunch it and or even talk about revising. I don't know. We can talk about that. But
yeah. I'm my paint supplier is currently on hold with the pandemic, so I'm hoping if when the time's right, hopefully sooner than later. Just stay tuned and we'll fill up with paints. And you've added to your palette though. Do you have 20?
Yes.
You have like 27 paints in there. What's the great big red one?
I know I have one big red one. I don't know why. I guess I did kind of edit I don't know why that. I guess I wanted I probably have like 5 of these palettes going that I've have in all different configurations, and so I guess I pulled out a big red one because it was still a good one, and I don't know. I don't know what color it is. from our experience curating the collection. I'm not very good with remembering the actual colors or who made them, but I think the rest is from us. And then these two are I use for skin tone, white people skin tone, I guess. And then this is a white gouache and gold. We had gold, so that I must have moved things around. Anyway, I don't know. It's just a random assortment of all the tube paints that I have in my collection.
Oh, they're gorgeous. And yeah, what do you and I know you often work in a sketchbook. So is it Moleskine you often sketch in?
I did for about 4 years. I used these. There they are. There's a whole bunch of them. But I switched to this handmade journal that is made by my friend Margot, who is she owns Peg and All with her husband, and they
fabulous.
Yeah, I went to her, and I think they were already in the talks of creating some sketchbooks, and I was like, can you actually help me make one? And then one thing led to another, and they made 3 different sizes. They fit into their tool rolls, and anyway, it's beautiful. It's handmade, and it's not super cheap, but I feel like they're completely worth every penny. So that's what I've been using. I'm on my 3rd one now, and I'll probably be using that one for a while. So it's better for paint. The Moleskine that I used was not. So I talked about that in Draw Your Day. So for like years, I used really bad paper, and finally I realized, why am I doing this? And I upgraded. So yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful.
But today I'm just going to make a small painting today, kind of similar to these. I brought them. These are those little paintings that I made. Yeah. So I'm just going to do something like that, but I'm not going to spend as much time. It'll be like a mix between my sketchbook level, and I'm just going to stick this in. I hope I don't push any buttons. I really hope I don't, but I'm putting it in the stand thingy, like the holder. Yeah. Okay. Did that work? Everybody's
I think you're good. And then I'll just mention to everyone that I think if the comments are in the way at all for seeing Sam's work, I think if you tap the top of your screen, the comments will drop down. So just want to let you know that. And Sam, I saw a question about the paper you're working on today, what it is, if you know.
Yeah. So today, because I'm sorry if I'm shaking. Okay. Because I'm probably going to use my pens, I chose to work on the paper that I used for the watercolor paintings that I did, which were mostly actually gouache. Those I didn't use the pen, and so I just went for the cold press paper that has like I don't know if you can see it. It has a little bit of a tooth.
Yeah, a little texture.
So for this I'm using hot press. I really hope you can see that. Yeah, hot press. It's fluid. I don't know. It's not fancy.
Yeah, I'm using
140 pound, 300 gram. So, or GSM, whatever that means.
Wonderful.
Yeah. Okay, what are you using?
Yeah, something really similar. I had some arches in my studio. So
you're working on better paper.
Yeah, but I often tell people, I think for watercolor, minimum like 100 pound, and yes, what you're working on sounds great. And I just saw someone had a question about my palettes too. I cleaned them up for the demo because I thought,
look how nice,
different colors. Yeah. But these two, like Sam, I have a lot of different palettes I'm playing with kind of constantly. But this set of, I guess it's 29 colors, I put together for my summer trip that I did as expeditionary art up to Alaska. And I will post soon a write-up of these colors that I have, because I don't think I have that on my blog yet. So Sam, you're like painting along with you today, I have to say, totally pushes my comfort zone. I never do still lives.
Oh, good.
I'm going to follow your lead.
Okay. Well, yeah, I should say I grew up surrounded by two people's artwork my whole life. One was my grandmother, and the other is my great aunt, and they were identical twin sisters. And the story is that they drew straws in college to choose who would be the sculptor and who would be the painter. And then they stuck with it forever. And my great aunt Elsie, who lived in New York City and showed at a gallery here in the city, she did very well and also taught. Oh, sorry, I'm shaking. She was like a master still life painter. Actually, I have a postcard here. Or sorry, a card here. This is one of her paintings.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah, but so I grew up around her work, and it's in our apartment, and it just feels comforting for me to just paint some fruit like she did. So, and bowls and, you know, things that are around. And my grandmother was a sculptor, and she also was hugely influential in my life. In a way more, you know, in many ways more than my great aunt, because I grew up with her and she helped raise me and all that. But my sister and I would paint and draw in her studio, and yeah, so I grew up around it. And so that's sort of another, literally in my dining room, painting those bowls of fruit with her work, you know, in front of me. So it just feels good. And so that's a little story anyway.
Oh, that's wonderful. I didn't, you come from a family of artists.
I do. And a lot of female artists, which is really nice. So,
yeah.
My mother, and anyway, so, and my sister. So I'm going to start. Should I just start, right? We're starting.
Like
are you starting?
Gorgeous black wing pencils, maybe?
Yes. This is my go-to. This is what I draw with. And when I teach workshops, everyone gets one. Or if I teach a class, I always give one to everyone.
Okay, you inspired me. Except you've got the gold one.
Well, this is the pearl. This is, you know, you can get these. This isn't a fancy version. It's just pretty, isn't it?
Oh, I know. Their pencils are gorgeous.
Yeah.
I love them.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna start.
Yep.
So I guess I showed everyone in the beginning what I'm gonna kind of tilt. Can you see what I'm doing? It's a tea towel. Okay.
So are you going to tackle multiple pieces of fruit?
Just the little clementine and the lemon. Yeah, just what I bought.
I'll try my orange and banana. Like I said, you're really pushing my comfort zone. I'm a landscape painter by nature. I love this.
I know, and you're so good. You'll be.
Oh, you're sweet.
I can't wait to see it. I can't wait to see it.
Maybe I'll do the apple. I might have to do a couple of these. One just like looser. Or maybe if you have time too, maybe you'd want to do kind of two approaches. Tell me the first thing you're noticing as you're just starting to sketch them out.
Yeah, well, you know, it's interesting the perspective on the tea towel, and how I sort of want to draw that. And one thing I say when I'm teaching how to draw anything, really, it's true with anything that you choose to draw. It's all about, you know, proportions and size of, you know, how big is this part compared to that part, and how much space does this take up compared to that part. And it's really the way, it's really a matter of really looking and seeing something sort of on a, you know, in a different level, a different way than when you just sort of glance at it. And so, you know, when I start to sketch, it's just sort of like, okay, well, how much space does the lemon take up on the tea towel? And, you know, and then how big is the clementine compared to that? And I don't know, it's hard to sort of describe, but without, you know, a lot of times I'll be measuring things like this, you know. Do you do that when you're doing your landscapes?
Yeah,
you kind of hold the pencil and...
Yeah, I'm really big into thinking about like using a pencil to measure. And I just see another question about hiding the comments. If you tap the top of your screen, they'll they should drop down. And maybe Sam, if you wanted to raise your paper just a little bit higher on your desk too. Yeah.
Is that better?
I think that's great.
I can't really see what I'm doing, which is better because it makes me nervous when I'm on camera. So, but I can't really see what I'm doing so well because I have this big thing covering my screen of the holder, you know?
Oh, you're great. You know, Thank you for being game for this.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's good.
Yeah. And I think it's the top of the screen you need to tap down. I'll just test this.
Oh, you're telling
yeah,
me.
I'm answering a question. Sorry, Sam.
Okay, good. Because I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay. It's funny, you know, like the fruit
I want to see what you're doing.
So we have some.
No, it's not moving.
I love what you said earlier about how it's felt soothing to do these. And I know for me that, especially in the past, couple of weeks, I just feel like my brain has been going a mile a minute, and art has been one way to really kind of calm myself down. And
yeah, me too. Yeah, it's a crazy time. We just keep having like these little highs and lows too in our little world. And I'm sure every family and everybody's going through the same thing.
Yeah.
You know.
And that, I know you've heard me say it before, like art is a tool is something I really believe in. So I love here thinking about it as just a tool for, kind of just meditation and finding some opportunity to relax and, and to play. Like, with art, I always like just the practice, not perfection.
Right. I mean, that was the thing about those bowls of fruit, though. I got a little too caught up in making them perfect. And I don't really like that. I don't like that pressure. I like things to be accurate and then to find my freedom after I sort of get, the perspective as good as I can, or the size of things as accurate as I can. And then just have like a freedom about, after that. And those didn't really feel that way. So by the third one, which was the hardest, which is like an antique bowl that had like these like, I don't know how to call it. It's not like an octagon, but the top had these like straight parts to it. It was very complicated. And I was
now I like your composition. I cropped my tea towel a little bit. I might have to do one more and have a couple of these going.
Yeah.
I'm going to follow your lead. Oh, I can't move my still life too much though. Can you tell I'm a novice with this? Okay.
I can't. I don't know what you're doing. I can't wait. Yeah, I can't wait to see to go back and look at this because I don't know what you're doing. I can't see it. I can't see anything. All I can do is hear you. So I'm sorry if anybody's asking me questions because I'm not looking. Are you looking at the questions?
I can see the questions, and I see there's a couple people having some frustrations with the live stream. I'm so sorry to hear that. We will have it available for at least the next 24 hours. And this has been really my first week streaming things. So, thank you. So I'm planning to explore also some other platforms to try out. It's been a big learning curve. So really appreciate everyone's patience and enthusiasm.
Yeah, I guess, is there a way that we can record this if we want to do it again?
I'm doing a recording right now, so I'll
oh, good. Okay.
I'll see if we can get it up on YouTube.
Okay. Oh, good. That's great. So I have these little stripes in my towel. I'm trying to
cute
capture some of that.
So you're oh wow, you're even shading too. So you're doing a pretty thorough.
A little bit. I like to like I said, I'm doing this a little bit more like I would do in my journal, and I like to get I like to layer the pencil and the ink and the paint and just leave it,
Oh, I love that. That's something I've really noticed in your work, is that you've got such terrific depth in your sketches of all those layers. And I've been curious some of the ways you achieve that. And so it's not just with the paint, but the different media kind of coming together.
Yeah, I like it. I like to leave that. I like to leave sort of the history of the process, you know?
Yeah.
Sort of there. And yeah, so I don't know, I leave it. And right now I am just playing around with the pencil a little bit more than I might normally, but I'm kind of having fun with it.
Okay, you're inspiring me.
Okay, good.
You're talking to someone too who's often impatient.
Yeah.
Working very quickly, so this is a nice change of pace. I think as an artist,
going slowly?
I was just going to say, as an artist, I think it's really good to push your comfort zone sometime and doing things that are a little uncomfortable. And
yeah. I wanted to say right now, one thing I talk about a lot when I teach is pressure with the pencil, and how you can really create these beautiful marks and lines depending on how hard you push. And so I always work fairly lightly, but then, you know, right here where there's shadow, if I push down a little bit harder, just with pressure, you can create that shadow. It's not really, you know, so much that I'm shading, I'm just sort of pushing.
Oh, I love
Does that make sense? Yeah. I mean, you just, you know, that a lot of people talk about like lines, like beautiful line work, and that really it's like a dance, you know, how much pressure you put down with your paintbrush or your pencil or your pen.
Oh, that's such a beautiful way to put it, Sam. I know when I do gestures, I like to think about dancing my pen or pencil around on the page, or even being like a conductor's baton and kind of conducting as it goes from point to point. And like the energy.
Like when yes, and when they talk about, like, if I hopefully everybody can see this, but if I like sort of accentuate this line here, this sort of fold, and I just sort of, you know, play with the pressure in the pencil, like look what that does, just, you know, just with the pressure. It's really something that you can, you know, really explore.
Do you ever find your pencil smudges when you work, like unintentionally, or kind of work it, or is that not so much a problem?
Yeah, it smudges. I don't mind that though. Yeah, it definitely smudges. What do you mean? Like, does it bother me if because I guess I don't know how, maybe it's because I know my sister has a lot of that issue. She's
I guess like maybe like your hand on the paper versus up a little bit. Like it looks like you kind of hold your hand above versus really put your hand down on top. Just
yeah, I don't drag my hand across. But it, you know, that also has to do with like being a righty or a lefty, right? I mean, it's harder if your hand just sort of naturally goes over where you're working.
Oh, you're going to make me want to use pencil more. I haven't done much with pencil in a long time.
Well, I'm going to stop for now. I should probably, I don't know, maybe I think I will go over an ink because I'm so used to doing that. I do have some fluorescent paint in this little tag.
Oh.
This little tag is fluorescent. It will be fun. I don't know if we have time for that. How long have we been going?
About 25 minutes. So
okay, good. Okay.
We'll be done by noon Pacific. So let's see if we can get some paint on these. And
yeah,
I bet we can do it.
I'm gonna just paint. I spent a little more time with the pencil than I normally.
And so you're starting with a fairly small brush.
Yeah, I always use this one. I got in London at a paint shop. So I don't know how available they are, but it's a Kolinsky Sable brush. It's the same as the Winsor Newton Series 7 that my mother told me to get, and I have been loyal to. And so this size, the 3, can everybody see what I'm doing? I'm hoping, because I'm holding it there. But anyway.
Yeah, we can see that.
Number 3, this is pretty much, I would say like 80% of what I use. I mean, it works for everything. But this is a size 1. And I don't know, I went for that just because I'm working small. So,
oh my goodness, I'll look in my drawer and see if I can pull out an even smaller. Okay.
I don't have anything smaller than a 1.
Okay, I found a little 0 if I need it.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah, I'm using a brush that I'm hoping will carry soon. I love the rosemaries that many of you are familiar with, and been using a lot of the squirrel mop and the dagger. And then lately, this is called the R10. It's a synthetic and pretty springy and comes to a really nice point. So that's the one I'm trying. Oh, and your lemons just come to life so much.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I didn't leave any white, but we can go back. That's what, when we did our palette, we had a white gouache. And
I love white gouache.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me about.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, just that you would use it for things like even cat whiskers and just when you need those last little brights. And I don't think it's cheating at all I mean, it's all making art to mix a little watercolor or gouache. And gouache, for those of you who might be unfamiliar with it, is a water-based paint. It's more opaque than watercolor, but they're compatible.
Yes, and they sort of lift up and you can re-wet them and in a similar way. So wait, do some people think that it's cheating?
Oh,
you know,
these are the
things. These are the things that I don't know. I don't believe anything's cheating. But I'm not a purist in, like, you know, I do have an art background and I did grow up in art studios and all of that, and I went to a fine art school, but I don't know. I don't believe that.
No, I am 100% with you. I think I might be remembering some long ago lesson of someone saying watercolor, you know, you have to always leave the paper white, but I certainly don't. That's not something I believe in.
Well, oops, I'm sorry, I shook. I actually believe, sorry, not, how do I want to say it? I wish I left some white there. That was a little bit of a mistake. But when I'm looking at my lemon right now, there really isn't, it's very diffuse light in my studio right now. And so I'm only seeing white on the clementine. I'm not really seeing white on the lemon, which is interesting. So that's my excuse.
Do you always work from life and memory, or do you use photos sometimes to remind yourself of your subjects?
Yeah, so I do all 3. I work from life, memory, and reference. And it just depends on what I want to capture and how I can do that. And again, I don't feel like any of it's cheating, you know. I think if you use reference, you should try and make it your own. So I'm not so thrilled with my lemon, but I'm going to come back to it.
Oh, it's got some nice depth from my perspective.
Oh, really? Okay, that's good. Yeah, I mean, if I have the time and I'm in a place where I can, you know, sit and draw for a while, then yeah, I always want to draw from life. But especially like in a journal, my journal, like most of the time doesn't really allow for that, you know.
Yeah.
Like I'm sort of moving around, or I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to capture that. Or sometimes I'll go back at the end of the day and I'll realize, wow, you know, that was a moment, that moment today when I saw, you know, I don't know, when like my son freaked out because like my kids do not like bugs. They're very smart city kids and they do not like bugs. And so, you know, I don't know, an example, like my son freaked out when a bumblebee, buzzed around us, something like that. And then I'll be like, you know what, I need to capture that. So I'll just Google bumblebee and like get some reference. That's it's a good example.
Oh, I love that. Then you can illustrate the memory.
Yeah. I mean, that's sort of the whole draw your day concept of,
I love in your journal how you will sometimes draw like elements of like ticket stubs and just all the little things that we might think are mundane, but are such a, like, kind of create the texture to our days. And I love that you see and kind of honor those things, Sam.
Oh, yeah. I think, sometimes it's the little things that bring us back and that help us, highlight a memory as opposed to the obvious,
Oh, I see someone asking me, or asking us, let's see, Sam, what colors are you using for the lemon?
Oh gosh, that's where I'm going to get in trouble. It's yellow. I'm using yellow.
Oh, now she's asking about the orange too.
It's orange. No. Okay, I actually can pull out my paints. Should I do that? I don't have memory of these things. Remember when we did it? And
we can paint more first. I'm enjoying watching you paint. And I saw someone ask if my apple started as dry paper, and it did. But as I'm working my way around it, and like Sam's as well, our paper's wet, so the colors are blending together. Although yours looks so nice, Sam. I like your composition better.
Oh my God, I'm not seeing yours. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
I feel so bad. I want to see what you're doing. Wait, let me see if I can. Oh, I can see. Oh, it's gorgeous. Look how nice that lemon is.
Aww.
Anyway. This is so fun. I don't get to paint with people. Nobody paints with me at home.
Well, actually, I've been doing a lot of painting with my daughter, but
yeah, my boys will not. They don't.
Tell me again how old your boys are.
I have a almost 16-year-old, a 15-year-old, and 12. You know what I'm trying to do right now is, and I remember this from school, and again, like I don't know the rules. I don't know the rules, but if there are rules, but I remember I mean, I guess like who does, is it Cezanne? When he does his fruit, there's always sort of like this black outline. I love his fruit. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I'll have to look some up now. Maybe we can post a couple images to our stories. I'm thinking about like reflected light though, and like the colors of things, being reflected in. Yes.
Well, I was going to say that I've been trying to try and do not go for the black. Try and find the other colors in the shadows,
I'm seeing a few questions. One about kind of our background, your background, especially to coming into drawing and illustrating. And I know that you shared briefly a bit about your family.
Yeah.
But if you might be able to let us know a little more, we'd love to hear that.
Yeah, oh boy. Okay. So I know exactly. It's not really that complicated. I was a graphic design. I went to fine art school, and then I was a graphic designer for like 20 years. Drawing little things here and there when I could, but mostly really just using my handwriting. Not lettering or calligraphy the way that it's sort of used or talked about now, but I was on the computer all the time and worked with all different kinds of clients. I had a business for a while with a business partner, and we did a whole line of stationery. I did all sorts of things, but it was not nothing was done by hand. So I just turned 40. I had my kids. I just felt like really sort of burnt out by sitting in front of the computer. And it's all in Draw Your Day, the story. But I just started drawing in a journal, and I would share some of the, somebody told me like, you should start an Instagram. I started an Instagram, and then I got, some followers, and a few people saw the work through that, word of mouth, and I started getting jobs to illustrate things. So I'm really a self-taught illustrator, and again, that might be why I don't really know all the rules of, sort of. I still am figuring a lot of stuff out to this day, but it just, it evolved from my sketchbook, which is kind of really nice. It's like a personal project that became my career.
I love that. I feel too, like looking at your beautiful pages, your design background of layout and use of text and images really shines. They're just, your compositions are really lovely.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that is from the design background. It's sort of, yeah, thank you.
I saw another comment too of wondering about kind of some tips for beginners kind of diving in, maybe something like this.
Oh, more of this kind of thing, like lessons into, I mean, I know I'm having a hard time answering all these questions because there's a lot. I mean,
and I just saw a comment saying learning by doing, which I couldn't agree with more.
Yeah, but sometimes you need somebody to show you, how, like, what I'm seeing in front of me, and in a way it's like you kind of need to be taught or shown how to see it and what you're looking at in a different way than like I said, when you just sort of when you just look at something.
Yeah,
it's a different way of seeing, and so I feel like it is good to learn some of the tricks, and and then you're like, oh, I get that. I get, how I can sort of capture that on paper,
Yeah, it's like flexing a muscle, but you gotta kind of find what the muscle is.
Yeah, it's I mean, it's true that the best way of learning is through doing, and doing and doing and doing and doing. You gotta practice. So, yeah. But the, Skillshare and YouTube and books, and, if you can't get to like a continuing education course or something that's offered in your, where you live, there's so many resources.
And Sam, you're on Skillshare, right?
Yeah, I have one class. I hope to do more. I hope to do more on more technique and my technique.
Yeah.
Which is, but right now I just have the one, and it's like a draw your day class. But I think it's great, and I'm proud of it. It's doing well, and yeah.
I think too, on sort of the order of operations that I see both of us doing is, and kind of the steps, say, of today is we both started with the pencil drawing. So I'm following along with you, pencil drawing, and then starting with some of the big shapes. And now I see it looks like you're kind of building in some more texture and adding in more of those darks. And is that like with a drier brush as you go in? Like, is your paper drier or more wet now, or are you able just to continue working around?
Yeah, so it really, like right now, for example, I really needed this area to dry in order to get some of these lines in, or else it would have all sort of bled, But what I did here was, this is all wet right now. I'm going to wait till it dries again before I go in again. And again, that's like trial and error with the paint, right? I mean, you kind of know when you need to let something dry and when you need to go back in with more water, right? I mean, it's hard to, it's hard. There's not really any, for me, it's area to area and sort of how I want to achieve something. Would you say that's?
Yeah. I know for me, as I start to get more detailed after I do some of the big shapes and then kind of building up medium textures, before I go in with darks, if I don't want it to run as much and it is a little wet, I do dry my brush more.
Yeah.
Because then there's just less liquid to flow from the brush into my paper. Oh, I love your paper towel, like a piece of art there.
Yeah, I have a paper towel, and well, this one I could fold again because it's getting pretty messy. But that's what I blot with. I guess yeah, that's always there, and so I guess I'm again it becomes sort of, once you know what you kind of want to do and you get a feel for it, when you're blotting, and then it's like everybody's saying now, when you touch your face, you don't realize how much you're touching your face. And I don't realize how much I'm blotting my paintbrush, but I do blot it.
Gosh, this is really fun, Sam. Like I said, I cannot remember the last time I just sort of sat down with a still life, and I'm like enjoying now going in and even adding like some of the little stippling, just little tiny dry brush technique. So I've got that drier brush and trying to build up some textures and
oh yeah, it's so beautiful. I looked up. I've been looking down and down.
It's hard to keep our attention in two places. And talk.
I know. I know. It's fun. It's fun. So I do have a few friends who I'll like write and paint with, but I really don't have a lot of well, right now, because I'm at home, I don't have anyone to paint with, but it's just so nice to do this. I'm a little nervous. I feel like I'm a little nervous.
Can you move your paper up just a little bit, Sam, again? There you go. Perfect.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, gosh, it's good. You've got such depth. I love the folds in your towel, and especially the end of that lemon. I really love the dimension that you got and kind of pulling it out with that shadow.
Oh, good. That was the area where I was like going to go back because I'm not quite sure I like it, but I'm glad it's coming out. I don't know what you're seeing. I really don't. It's interesting to me right now because I feel like I'm working in a way like in blind because I'm seeing my painting and that's all I really should be seeing, but it looks like on camera. Does that make sense? I don't know what you're seeing.
Absolutely.
How long have we been going now? I feel like I'm working slowly.
Okay, we'll see. We've got about 10 more minutes, and Instagram Live has an hour minimum or maximum, so we'll get kicked off. And if we end up having to finish them and post our final results a little after,
will. Yes,
I think that's just fine.
Yeah.
And I'm curious. I'm hoping I can get to the point where I might add a little gouache on this, and I'm kind of curious what you might do. Oh my goodness, and your orange has such depth. Oh
really? I'm gonna go back into that. Oh, nice.
I like the light on it.
Nice. Okay, good.
And if you're just tuning in and seeing comments over Sam's painting, you can tap near the top of your screen, and that should lower the comments most of the way down.
I'm not going to go get my fluorescent paint. Should I? I don't want to step away. Never mind.
You can run away for a minute.
You know, it's right at the table. I'll be right back.
Oh yeah, go for it.
Oh yeah, you can still hear me though, right? I have my headphones in.
Yeah, I'll still paint too.
Okay, I'm just going to show these. These are handmade. They're from a company, Case for Making.
I've heard so many nice things about them. They're in San Francisco.
Yep. Yeah.
I've been wanting to get in touch with them, and
yes, they
seem like really nice folks.
Alexis owns it, and she's very nice. And you can tell her, you're a friend of mine. I taught a workshop there.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, and so yeah, this little tag is fluorescent pink, so I'm getting that. Yay.
Okay, I need to paint.
Is that coming across?
Oh yeah, that's like hot pink. So fun.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
I love it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just need your hot pink paint.
I know. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, we might have to do this again, or in a different way, or some revisit. It's actually so easy for me now that I have this tool and this setup thing. For years, I feel like, I mean, also the camera's gotten better, the iPhone.
Yeah.
But for years, I would like try a video and it would be dark and icky, and I'd post it and I'd be like, oh, it's so fuzzy, it looks awful, and then I'd just get discouraged and be like, oh, I don't want to do videos, I don't like it, And now I finally have a setup where
you're it looks great. Oh, I saw a question, if we've got time to get to it, about any tips for like shadows or kind of adding shadows. Do you have any thoughts there?
I would say layering. I would say, it's definitely good, like I'm doing right now. I'm going back in. And if you're using watercolor, a lot of times, I'll use my finger, to sort of move the paint away too, if I don't want to add that much water, if I don't want to have like some sort of flooded little like washy area.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that answers the question. Shadows are hard. I mean, they're would you agree? I mean, it's hard to get like that right fade or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, and I might add that I've been trying, I've been painting my little napkin here. It's blue, so I've been pulling like a little bit of the blue into the fruit, and just some of that idea of sort of the shadow, like things holding hands and a little bit of reflection. And then for me, I'll often kind of just squint at things too to see about like what's the shape. And I think with art, I know I'm tempted often to do everything, but like it's okay to simplify.
Right.
And kind of focus on like the biggest, most important shadows. And I guess one tip I often tell people too is like when you squint, just really make your darks dark, because then you get contrast. And watercolors can have a tendency to look a little washed out if they don't have that value.
Yes. Yeah, squinting is always a good idea, and then you really see where the darkest is and the highlight. And yeah, I mean, I also find it interesting that one thing is when something sort of goes off into shadow, into the darkest part, there's this reflective light. Like here, I'm bringing this painting in, where it's like you think, okay, this is the part where it's going into shadow. Can you see what I'm talking about? Where it's going into the darkest shadow. And these were interesting because like the light was sort of just like kind of all over the clementines. They're very glossy and shiny. I have one here. I don't know. It's hard to explain, but then right at the edge, there's like this reflective light where there's this sort of almost white highlight or outline right in that darkest area. And so those are the things, like if you're really, really looking, you see that you might miss it when you're just glancing at it.
Yeah.
So really like breaking down the shadows and seeing, all those different little nuances. It's interesting. I don't know.
That's a gorgeous still life you were just showing us too, Sam. I love it.
Oh, thank you. Those were fun to make, but I think I'm moving on from that. This is a little bit more of my comfort zone, to be a little looser.
Mm-hmm. Something this is reminding me of is like, now that I'm adding in my darks, at least on mine, I'm starting to be a little more, it's like starting to come together a bit. And that's when it reminds me just of like how you need to see through a sketch or a painting so that you can kind of give it a chance and not quit too early if you start to get disappointed. Like it's worth seeing a little project through.
Yeah,
so you might surprise yourself.
True. Exactly. And it's also too like a good comparison is, when your house is under construction, or there's, you think, oh my gosh, it looks so far from finished, but then you add these few little touches towards the end, and it's like, wow, how did that come together? So, it's sort of, sometimes it just takes those last highlights or shadows to sort of, have it be so much different, have a totally different look. And I don't know if that makes sense, but
no, totally. Sometimes you'll be surprised what a few little things can do. Do you have any sort of way that you help gauge or tell yourself when something is done?
There's always a much more there's like a sense of freedom when I'm working in my journal, and everything is just sort of like, okay, yeah, that's done. I don't obsess as much. When I'm doing a painting like this, then I question it more and I obsess, and I'm like, oh well, is it, or what do I anyway. I'm sort of adding dimension now with like a washed down black right now. I'm to add dimension to the folds in my tea towel. So yeah, I if I were in my journal, I could just be like, yeah, I'm done. That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I just noticed my tea towel, and it was a cool looking one, and I stuck a lemon and a clementine on it, and yeah, that's cool, I'm done. I don't know, I don't obsess as much. So to answer your question, it's not really answering your question, but I find that I finish in my journal whenever I feel I want to move on, and it's just, I don't know. But here I'm obsessing a little more. I'm, I guess sometimes it's nice to leave things unfinished,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You've got some of the freedom of choice there.
Yeah, and there's no rules, anything goes. I don't know.
Well, that's like, I love what you said about your journal, and especially just, any art practice is to enjoy the process of it. And
yeah, if you're not having fun anymore, but it is good to persevere, like you're saying. So there's sort of both sides, it's good to persevere and see something through. But if you're really miserable, stop, It shouldn't be, I don't know. People are, sometimes people say to me, how do I start? Where do I start? And I'm like, you know what? If you really want to, you'll start.
Yeah.
You have to want to. You have to want to. And if you think like, oh, I just don't know. I don't know. I can't. I'm too hard, and you're that hard on yourself, then, you're never going to start.
Yeah. Be gentle on yourself and give yourself permission to play. Well, we're just about out of time.
Okay. I'm looking now up at yours. Look how beautiful that is. See? You should do it more often.
That would be so much fun. Maybe another time we could do another kind of theme or something and coming on. And Sam, I really want to thank you for joining me today all the way from New York, and for the inspiration that you give, I know, me and so many people through your work. Really, it means a lot. And everybody, if you don't already follow Sam, she's at Dion Baker Design, where she's just posts all of her amazing work. Sam, I'm going to give your book with just one more shout out too, because I think it's such a wonderful resource. The Draw Your Day book here, and this will be available live for 24 hours, and I'm exploring, I'm hoping I can post the recording up on YouTube. As I mentioned, this is just all a learning curve for me these days.
Yes, me too. But you're taking on like more of the hosting situation. So, but if there's anything I can do or to help you, just let me know.
And I wanted to just share one more thing that I've done with some of my sketches from other demos, which is I've been trading them for a donation to support COVID-19. So in Seattle, there's Seattle Foundation, or my brother created a GoFundMe that's helping connect restaurants to feeding hospital workers. And Sam, if that's something you choose to do too, or with this piece, I could help with that, or
I will follow up on that. I'd be happy to help.
I just we're really want to help support our kind of global community here. So thank you again, Sam.
You're welcome. I'm still obsessing. I'm still working, but I'm gonna stop soon. And I will definitely follow up on donating. Whoops. And thank you so much for making this happen.
Thank you, and we'll post our finished pieces in our stories and do a follow up there. So okay, we'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Thanks, Maria.
Yeah, thank you everyone for joining us.
Thanks everyone.